Well, this has been one crazy week in the NFL, and it tops off with the playoff field being set. We now know who's going to be competing for the Super Bowl this year. We'll talk about it all coming up. Hello everyone, welcome back. New intro, new year, and we are talking about the NFL. As all of you know, the playoff field is set. We know every team, when they're playing, where they're playing, all of that. We'll have plenty on the playoffs this whole week, and that starts today with, I think, 3 videos this week. It will be a stretch, but I think we can get them all out there. First and foremost, thank you so much for watching this video, and let's take a look at my 3 points that we're going to talk about. First off, one hectic week in the NFL. I want to recap our rules changes and all that will be coming, because we now know that we will have a neutral site NFC and AFC championship game. I'll give a quick little reaction to that, my thoughts on it all. Then we do have a playoff field, so we'll react to the teams in the playoffs, all of that, and then we will talk about the teams that did not make the playoffs this year, including some big names that did get eliminated. So first off and foremost, if you are new and maybe you didn't follow the NFL for the last week, it was a pretty crazy week. There was a lot of uncertainty on whether or not we would maybe even play these games, and thankfully we got them in, and it was great. It was a great moment the NFL did this weekend for Damar Hamlin, who's okay in the hospital. Since the last time I was on, there was questions of whether or not he would even be okay. That has changed. He is okay and continuing to improve in the hospital at this time, which is big news. But on the same lines, the NFL had to make changes. I don't think they had to make changes, but they had to make some sort of decision on what would happen this week in the NFL. They decided to play, but they decided to cancel the Bills-Cincinnati game. That game is done. It will not be played. And this, of course, means that the Chiefs get the #1 seed. They get the bye. They are in the next round of the playoffs. And the Bills will get the #2. But the Bengals will kind of miss out on all of this good stuff that they're supposed to have. There will be an AFC, neutral site game. The Bengals get they're not even in the hunt for the #1 seed anymore. The Bengals obviously frustrated by that, and I think they should be. I think the Bengals were taking out of a great opportunity. I think they got the real short end of the stick on this agreement from the NFL when it goes by winning percentage. There's a rule in the rule book that says in some godforsaken reason a game needs to be canceled. We will go by winning percentage. That's how we will decide who should win the game and all of that. The NFL decided to make a totally different rule, get rid of what they had already there, and just do something different. And I think that's wrong. You write the rules for a reason. There is a rule book that the league, the refs, everyone involved has to follow. Your refs, the players, the coaches, everybody, the league, they are there to follow that. And the NFL and the owners voted to to get rid of, I think my wording was wrong there, to get rid of a rule book. A rule in that rule book that fixes all of this issues. It fixes any argument. It fixes anything that would have maybe said, yeah, maybe that shouldn't happen. It fixes it all. And the NFL said, we're not going to follow our rules. It just setting a precedent that the NFL will just change the rules. Yeah, whatever, guys. Hey, we'll just change the rules. Look, I understand. This is a tough situation, but you have a rule in the rule book. I feel like you need to abide by your rules. You need to follow your rules. Is that just crazy or what? I don't know. I feel like that's like the thing to do. You follow the rule book. You follow the rules. Like I said, maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am delusional there, but that's the Bengals. They get a real short end of the stick there. They miss out on a lot. But the Chiefs and even the Bills miss out on a little bit. I think the Bills don't care as much, but the Chiefs care. They won home field advantage. And they will not get it, because most likely they will be playing the Bills in the AFC Championship game, and most likely they will not have home field advantage. This will be a neutral site game, most likely happening in Detroit or Indianapolis, and I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I feel like this tough for all fans, Kansas City fans who would be able to go to an AFC Championship game now, if it ends up happening, have to go to a neutral site game. I just feel like that stinks for fans, and they really get robbed out of it. I haven't heard too much. I've heard conversation, but I haven't heard a ton of conversation about this, where like there's a rule. Why did they have to get rid of it? I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at the NFL playoffs. We do know all the playoff teams at this time, and there was a lot of situations that needed to happen, certain teams that could clinch and all of that. The Seahawks get the 7th seed in the NFC. The Dolphins get the 7th seed in the AFC. The Jaguars beat the Titans on Saturday Night Football and were able to take home that the 6th seed, or I don't know what seed it is exactly. They were able to take one of the final spots left in the playoffs, and the Seahawks beat the Seahawks also get in. The 49ers are in. The Dolphins are in. The Giants are in. Vikings, Cowboys, Bucks, Ravens, Bengals. We'll see some great matchups coming up next week, and some awesome play, some great competition, and just good football all in all. We will have that next week. I'm pretty excited for it all. I think it's great. I love the playoffs, and I'm glad they're here. I'm glad the NFL playoffs are here, and we're getting ready to play them. I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for everybody that these playoffs are here, and we are going to be playing them. Obviously, there's some teams in here that might be surprised to see back in the playoffs. For example, the Jaguars. I mean, that's a team at the start of the year. If you ask me, should they be in the playoffs, I would say no. Other teams that you might be like, are they really in the playoffs? They stunk this year, like the Buccaneers. There's teams like that. You're like, what, they're in the playoffs? They kind of stunk this whole year, and I would tend to agree with that sentiment. Anyway, there's going to be some interesting matchups. There's going to be some good games. There could be some good teams going home. 2 teams we know won't be going home, the Chiefs and the Eagles, and we will have all predictions and stuff probably Friday. That video will come out. If you guys don't know how I do it, I do a duo mix on the playoffs, so that's that. We will have all of that action coming your way in the next couple weeks. I'm hyped up for it. I think it's going to be great. But now let's talk about some teams that got the short end of the stick. Maybe they didn't make the playoffs. I'll go through this and I'll stop at some interesting teams that we knew weren't going to make it. Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts both don't make it. No shockers there. The Broncos, they didn't make it. I think in the beginning of the year they were a team that we thought would be able to make the playoffs, but they just couldn't do it. The Browns, the Raiders couldn't get in. The Jets, they looked promising at the start of the year. Just couldn't do it. The Titans, obviously, like we said, couldn't beat the Jaguars when you're in. The Patriots, they had to beat the Bills to be in. They couldn't. The Steelers needed a lot of help to be in. They finished above 500. Just still couldn't clinch that spot. The Bears get the number 1 seed. They finished 3-4. So they'll get the number 1 seed for the draft. The number 1 pick. I shouldn't say seed. The number 1 pick. Cardinals didn't make it. That's pretty much a surprise. I expected them to make it. The Rams, they didn't make it. Another surprise there. I expected them to be in the playoffs this year. The Falcons, real no surprise there. The Panthers, real no surprise. The Saints, pretty surprising they didn't get in there. Here's the big one. The Packers couldn't beat the Lions last night. And it's tough, obviously, for the Packers. And now there's a lot of questions yet again on where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? What is Aaron Rodgers going to do? And all of that. And it is a question of where is Aaron going to go? What is Aaron going to do? What is Rodgers' plans? And I think we're all left to think and wonder what his plans really are. And what does the future look like for Aaron Rodgers? And I think that it is in question, nevertheless, of what he will do next season and seasons beyond. And will he consider retirement? Will he go to another team? And yet, who will that team be? So that's something to watch. The Commanders also didn't make it. They had a good season this year. Could make it again next year. And the Lions, surprisingly, had a really good season this year. All right, for the last time in the regular season, let's take a look at all the scores from this week. It starts On Saturday, what a blowout. The Chiefs win 31-13 over the Raiders. The Jags clinched their playoff spot 2016 over the Titans on a defensive play. Defense came in clutch in that game. The Steelers beat the Browns 28-14. The Bengals come back knowing that if they lost, they would have to go to a coin flip and all of that. No, they just settle it. They win 27-16. The Vikings beat the future first pick in the draft 29-3. The Bills come on top 35-23. A big special teams day for both for the Bills. The Patriots special teams they couldn't figure it out. The Dolphins beat the Jets late in the fourth quarter in that game. Pretty low scoring, 11-6. Falcons come on top on Tom Brady's playoff-bound Buccaneers, 30-17. Yeah, by the way, the Buccaneers are 8-9. They are a losing record team in the playoffs, but I still don't think we can count them out. The Panthers beat the Saints by 4, 10-7. Texans win by 1 against the Colts, 32-31. 49ers, Brock Purdy's 49ers, 38-13 over the Cardinals. Commanders beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys were resting their players, 26-6 for the Commanders. 19-16 win over the Rams for the Seahawks to clinch their playoff spot in overtime. The Eagles beat the Giants. Again, a really heavily sat game, 22-16. They dominated that game, the Eagles did, but again, they were sitting a lot of players. The Broncos beat the Chargers 31-28. And in Sunday Night Football, the Lions beat the Packers to eliminate them. Both teams are out of the playoffs, but the Packers, that's the big one. 2016 elimination. Wow, what a great NFL season. We're not over yet. We still have the playoffs. Let's look at our final regular season play of the week.
The Patriots start the day as the 7 seed. They will lock up a playoff spot if they can handle the Buffalo Bills. And they're going to get a nice kickoff return, bouncing off to the offside and into New England territory. The Buffalo Bills begin the day with a house call. Touchdown Buffalo. After an unimaginable week of emotions, Bills Mafia rejoices in the first 15 seconds of the game. Wow.
6 days removed from this incredible
Can't believe it.
scene that we saw with the Bills player down in Cincinnati, and now
And that is that. That is our moment of the week. With that said, thanks for watching. Stick with this YouTube channel throughout the National Football League playoffs. National Football League playoffs, National Football League playoffs. Try to say that 10 times. I think it's quite easy. Anyway, stick with us throughout the playoffs. We will have live streams, I assume, live coverage, live discussion, as well as these videos. We'll have prediction videos every round, and obviously analysis after every playoff, and we'll look at all the teams, and up until the Super Bowl, we'll have that. So stick with us all the time throughout that process. Until the next time, my name is Cameron Simpson, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.